Guarantee there's like 20% of y'all who are like, why the f would I use any of those? Good morning. My kitchen is a mess. I repotted this plant. Look how beautiful it looks. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't repot it. My mom repotted it. I almost lied to you guys. So as a photographer, I have built my brand on social media, and I've actually built other people's brands on social media as well. So a question that I always get is, how can I take my content to the next level? This question comes from just regular people who are trying to make better photos, better videos, and it comes from business associates and people who are trying to build brands and just present a more high quality product. You see, a lot of people start with an iPhone, and the iPhone is fantastic. It gets a lot done, but it does have its limitations, especially once you get into more wide angle stuff and more zoom type content. So a lot of people go out and invest in some crazy expensive camera, but they never invest in the right lens, and they never take the time to research it. So today we're talking about the 3 lenses that I use for probably 85–90% of all the content I put on social media, and I'm gonna break down some scenarios how I use them. So if you're someone trying to take your Instagram and social media content to the next level, you can pick the right one. Before we can do anything though, you wanna go see Claire? You wanna get your bath? Come on, let's go. Come on. So shout out Felipe Pantone, my favorite visual artist on the planet Earth, and a surprisingly cool dude actually. For like a world famous artist, he's very nice. I've met him a couple times actually, and I've made photos of him before too. But I will acknowledge Instagram has changed a lot over the last couple years. That's why I have a video on this channel about what artists need to do to kind of adapt to the times. And one thing I'm doing is incorporating more with Instagram stories and using my style to kind of create almost like a visual journal of what's happening with me, so people can get a better idea of the person behind the art and behind this YouTube channel. So I'm gonna actually make a photo of this using the 24-70, which is the first lens we gotta talk about today. So y'all remember how I had that shelf in my living room that's like completely empty? I need to fill it with something, so we're going to a vintage bookstore, buy this shelf, because you're like, I don't want a blank wall, and then you have blank shelves, and you're like, well, I don't want the shelves to be blank, what do I put on the shelves? I cannot even remember the last time I was at this office, probably in 2020. I don't think I've been here once this entire time. Gonna check the mail and see if any packages came. Yo, check this out. What a find at this store. I got 18 copies of Leica Photography magazine. Books that are old feel haunted to me. When I was in there, I was like, this place is haunted. And every book I picked up, I was like, this is haunted. These, they feel slightly haunted. But back to the reason you clicked on this video in the first place. The 24-70 is the best social media lens, in my opinion. I know plenty of influencers out there, plenty of social media personalities who all they use is a 24-70. It literally never leaves their camera because it can basically do everything. It's the Swiss Army knife of camera lenses. At 24mm, you can get environmental photos, kind of like we did in the bookstore. You can get more wide open, and you can immediately punch in and get a more cropped detail photo. You can also do portraits, and because it's a 2.8, it allows you to get some bokeh, some nice depth of field. It basically does everything. Now, like everything, there's definitely drawbacks to a 24-70 2.8. One, they don't make cheap ones. It's a professional level lens. It's considered like the staple pro lens. Doesn't matter what camera brand you're using. Some other drawbacks is the size. Everything that you gain in versatility, you lose in discreteness, size, weight, all those factors. So last night, I went out and made photos with my favorite Instagram lens, the 16 to 35mm f4. Now I've owned a couple variations of this wide angle to mid-range style lens in the past, and it's always been my favorite for a number of reasons. One, you can do portraits and you can do wide open shots, so you can get a wide establishing shot at 16mm, which who doesn't love a wide angle photo? They just always look cool, and you can immediately zoom in and get a 35mm portrait quick and easy. And wide angle lenses are a little bit easier to focus, they're a little bit more tame, so you can pass this off to someone who might be a novice, say one of your friends or a family member or something, and they'll usually get the shot. It's way more difficult to pass off a 70mm or something like that. So that's one reason. Another reason is the fact that you can get this POV style look with a lens like this. But the biggest reason I love a lens like this is actually for the main Instagram content that I'm creating. You see, Instagram is unlike any other type of photography on any other platform because of the crop constraints to the media. Whether you're doing a 4x5 or a square post, it is cropping your image down. So whatever you're making in camera, you kind of have to make a mental adjustment for and say, okay, if I'm posting this on Instagram, whether it's for work or personal, I need to make sure everything fits into these crop constraints. So with a 16mm lens like this, you have so much space to work with. You can easily compose a scene that looks great wide open, but also looks great cropped down into a square. So for someone who's creating a lot with Instagram and using it as a big part of your business, thinking in those terms of cropping and getting to a square or that 4x5 is a lot easier with something that's wide that gives you a lot more space to work with. We're getting there. We're getting there. And if you understand why I did this, you are the real MVP of today's episode. Why are these two books next to each other? If you can tell me why, shout out to you. All right, so here's the thing. There is a third option that I personally really enjoy, what I call the wide mid-range low aperture lens. Basically a 20mm f1.8 like this, 24mm f1.4, maybe an 18mm 1.8. The reason you might want one of these is because these two lenses right here, while fantastic and extremely versatile, they are not the greatest in low light, and they also don't give you the same type of bokeh that you can get with a low aperture lens like this. Also, the thing with lenses like this is they're typically a little bit less expensive if you go with the 1.8 version. So if you're looking to make less of a serious investment, but you still want to upgrade in something that's useful on social media, something like a 20 1.8, a 24 1.8 is definitely something to look into. We need to go walking. Yo, the vibe out here is so fantastic. Spring is coming and it feels good. And you know what's funny? There's a lot of things around here I would love to take a picture of, and guess what? I don't have my camera with me. And that's a really good example of all the nuance in today's video. The best camera you have is the one you have with you. So at the end of the day, you can make all the upgrades in the world, you can watch all the videos in the world, but if you're not actually making the picture, it doesn't matter. So I hope this video today helped you out, maybe helped your indecisiveness on how you can take your Instagram content to the next level. And remember too, this is like general stuff. I guarantee there's like 20% of y'all who are like, why the f would I use any of those? So with all that said, I'm gonna get out of here, enjoy walking my dog. Y'all are the truth. I will catch y'all next time. Have a good weekend. Yo, so I'm actually working on the edit for this video and I'm now disheveled, but I have a quick tip that I forgot to tell you all about in the video. So an app called Unfold. If you're sitting here thinking, yo, I don't know if I want to invest in something expensive like a lens, but I do want to improve my Instagram stories, this is an app that I think costs $19.99 a year. I can't remember, it's relatively inexpensive, but you get access to all these different Instagram story layouts that you can try. It's really a good way to kind of enhance the story you're telling with whatever content you're putting out there, and they look cool. And if you happen to work with clients, a lot of them don't know that this exists, so you can create really cool stuff for them very easily, and everyone wins when a client is happy.